Hey guys, Messenger of Death here, and we are back once again. Now, I got something I want to talk about. A lot of people are complaining about Elden Ring. People really need to stop crying about it, and this is why. The problem with this generation is too many kids expect games to be super easy, pick up and play. Remember games from the early 90s and early 2000s? Games were generally tough. There was no checkpoints, no save points in most games, you lose lives, game over. You gotta try again from the beginning of the game. Get good at the game, try again, and you eventually succeed. That was how gaming used to be. People don't understand how easy they have it this generation. You got checkpoints, save points, all kinds of things that allow you to save your progress. In my opinion, getting back to a boss in this game has never been easier. You don't have to run through all the enemies. They have statues of Marika literally pretty much outside of boss areas where most of the time you can literally go straight back to the boss. You don't have to deal with like 50 enemies to get to it. Right? This game is a lot easier. But now, nobody wants to try and learn and get better and feel that satisfaction for winning. They want everything nerfed to oblivion. It'd be so easy, you can breeze through it. Screaming at the developers, "Way, it's too hard, you need to make it easier for me, it's unfair." Just because they can't be bothered to learn and improve and get better. Life has lessons you must learn from to improve at living. Every mistake is a learning experience to learn from. It's the same with Souls-like games. That everything is sunshine and rainbows, where everything is given to you on a silver platter. You need to earn and work for what you have, not just expect it for free. That's the problem with today's generation. They expect everything to be given to them. They have so many opportunities, they just expect to get everything for free without ever working for it. They expect to get through school and get good grades without ever putting the effort in. They expect to get a good job without ever putting the effort in. They expect to get paid a lot of money without putting a lot of effort in. That's the problem these days. Everybody expects everything to just be given to them instead of earning it and working for it. And it's the same with gaming. A game doesn't have to be difficult to be a great game. I get that Elden Ring is difficult, but Souls-like games are known for being hard games, and they're loved for that fact. The enjoyment, the satisfaction when you finally overcome the obstacle that was blocking your path, beating you into submission, is what makes the Soul game so great and why so many people love it and why it's so satisfying. They took the time to learn, get better, improve, learn from their mistakes they made, and beat the game through hard work and determination. Today's generation want it all taken away and just given to them for free without any trial and error, which would ruin the franchise. The people need to just get good. Not sit there and cry saying they can't do it. They can if they are willing. They can beat that boss they are struggling with. They can beat that enemy they are dealing with. They can overcome that ledge that they failed to jump across if they are willing to try. If they keep trying, they will succeed. But instead, they just give up or refuse, and that's why they can't beat the game and quit. I mean, this game even has summons. You get a summoning bell at the start of the game if you sleep in an area that's pretty much directly from the start, and you wait till nightfall, an NPC will show and give you a summoning bell. You can request the help of other players who are much further in the game, who are probably in these areas collecting items they forgot to pick up along the way. There are plenty of ways to get help. There are even NPCs you can summon to help you fight these bosses and things. If you're willing to seek them out, it tells you about the items, the furl fingers and stuff like that. It tells you about this. It gives you items so you can summon friends to help you. There is a way to get around these obstacles. It's so easy if you try. Not because not because of the game itself, but because they are not willing to try. They're not willing to improve. They're not willing to accept the mistakes they made. Whether it's dying from a certain enemy's attack, a combo we saw that was a 2-3 hit combo. They don't learn from it. They will get hit by that same combo over and over because they don't learn from their mistake. They will die. And they'll give up. That's why they can't beat the game. Because the second they feel any resistance, they're just being a god at every easy game that's easy to breeze through, they cry like a spoilt child, expecting it to be handed to them. Life is not easy. You will face obstacles and challenges, you must overcome them. Sometimes life ain't fair. You can either give up and do nothing, and accept it, or challenge it, better yourself, and improve to not let it get in your way. I hear people complaining about things like, I can't see enemies attacking me from the side or behind. There should be an indicator. No, it shouldn't have an indicator. You have a brain and eyes that you can use. You have ears you can hear with. Use them. If you see there are 5 enemies and you go right up to one of them, there's a good chance one of the other enemies in that 5-man group are going to come at you from the side or from behind because you've aggroed them by going into their range. When you're dodge rolling away to get away from an attack or running away to get a better line of sight, you approach the other group of enemies, there's a likely chance you've probably aggroed them in because you weren't paying attention to the visual information you had. I remember at the start when you was near that castle area, you first speak to the lady when she says you must go to that castle. That's where a lot of people have gone to fight Margit, the Fellowman. There were a bunch of enemies outside of there. There was like, what, 10 or 15 of them? Maybe more? I didn't count them all. But there was a lot of enemies. And there was this one enemy that was tougher than a lot of them. He was kicking my ass with his spear and his shield. And I was struggling to deal with him. But the thing was, is I knew when I was going in to fight him, I'm probably going to pull in the other enemies if I've not dealt with them already. Because they are there. I've seen that information with my own eyes. My brain has seen there are other enemies around. And the more I ignore them while fighting this enemy and keep running away and dodge rolling back from him, the more likely I am to pull the others into the fight. It means I must deal with them quickly if I am to overcome this foe. A lot of people don't do that. And then they complain, I keep dying, it's too hard, because they don't do anything about the information that is given to them. If you're not paying attention, that's on you. Die from it. You know what to do. You learn from it. Okay, there was an enemy I didn't notice that snuck up on me. Maybe I should do something different and not fall for it this time. Okay, I know there's a bunch of enemies around here. There was one enemy I didn't see, and I don't currently see him. He's probably still around, though, and he may sneak up on me while I'm dealing with these guys. Maybe I should look for him first so that doesn't happen. Or maybe I should go in one direction where the enemy amount is weakest, whether it's just one over to the left, and then I can keep an eye on all of them from that angle because I can see them all in front of me and I know who's approaching me. Use your brain. You use it every day. You use your ears to hear cars when you're wanting to cross the road. Use your eyes to see those cars coming up and down. So you know not to get hit by those cars that are coming towards you when you cross the road. Use the information given to you. See a traffic light, you know that is probably a place you want to go to cross the road. Risk not getting hit by a car because the traffic light will eventually turn to red and that car will stop. You use the information that is given to you. It's something you do every single day in life, but the second that's needed in a video game, oh, it's too hard. Somebody help me, it's way too hard, this game needs changing. Like, no. That's not how it works. Use the information given to you. When enemies are moving, they make noise. When they throw an attack, there is a sound effect to that attack. When you hear a spell coming to you, you hear it moving. You have everything there to make a logical decision. You just have to take that logical decision and use it, the information you've been given. There have been times an enemy has run up behind me to try and hit me in the back. I did not know they were there, but I heard them coming. I heard footsteps running towards me, and I'm just like, oh, damn it, whoa, there's an enemy behind me. Dodge rolled out the way. I'm like, okay, well, that was a bit unfair, but okay, I'm going to deal with him now. It wasn't really unfair. I just didn't look around enough to see that there was another enemy nearby. I went into his aggro range while I was fighting the first group because I kept backing up too much, and I walked into another group because I did not pay attention to how far back I had gone into the next enemy group. That was my fault. There are times where I've died and I wanted to get my runes back so badly that I ran past all the enemies to get them back, and it bit me in the arse because I got cornered and killed. Whose fault was that? Was that the game being too hard? No, it was mine for ignoring the enemies and trying to rush to get my souls back. You can see all this when you watch my playthrough. If you choose to watch it, you will see that I struggle sometimes. I'm not the greatest player at Elden Ring. That, you know, you have the tools to do something in Elden Ring. If an enemy is too hard for you, it tells you this at the start. When you first see the horseman, when you leave the start area and enter into the big open world, it tells you that sometimes you may want to avoid an enemy and come back later if you are struggling. It tells you the information. You don't use it, that's on you. You wanted to go fight this horseman at level 5 or level 1 or whatever level you started at, because that's what your starting class started as, and you start dying to him, that's on you. You keep going back. He keeps killing you because you are low level. Maybe, just maybe, leave that guy alone for a bit. You don't have to fight him right now. Go to other places you can handle, fight other things you can fight, level up, find some better gear, and you can then take him on. Once you've leveled up a bit, you don't have to fight him right now. He's not a mandatory boss. The Tree Sentinel is not a mandatory boss that you have to deal with. You can easily leave him. If you choose to fight him at a super low level, that's on you. You have only yourself to blame because you're choosing to keep going back for it. Or you can learn and get better at fighting him, and you can overcome him, even at a low level. You are clever enough to sit there and read his attacks and dodge at the right time. You can take him on at level 1. I'm not even joking. You could take him on at level 1. You could equip the weakest weapon in the game, and if you are good enough, you could kill him with that weakest weapon in the game at level 1. You gotta take the time to learn his attack patterns and his moves, see how he acts when he's going for an attack. There are times where an enemy may take longer to go for the attack because they're winding up a heavier attack that's going to do more damage. The attacks are orchestrated in this game. Use your eyes, and you know that enemy is doing an attack. You know something is coming. It's your choice now. Read that information, dodge at the right time, or block it, or parry it if you can. If you are good at parrying, try to do it. If you're not good at parrying, don't just try and block the attack. You break your guard, you realise, okay, I need more stamina for this. Maybe come back later when I've got more. And I've leveled my endurance a bit more to give me more stamina so I can actually block that attack. It's up to you to make the logical decision. You have a brain, use it. Enemies' armor will clunk on every step they take to tell you there is an enemy nearby. It's probably approaching you, or it's moving around. There'll be sound effects that some enemies make. I was in an area the other day where an enemy was laughing, and I could not tell where it was coming from. There was an enemy constantly laughing. I was like, why the hell am I being laughed at? You know? And you know what I did? I used my ears, and I tracked down where it was coming from. I started to kill the enemy, so I was like, why are you laughing at me? They weren't specifically laughing at me, they just have that sound effect. But it was just like, it felt like they were laughing at me, because I was trying to figure out how to get to a certain place, and all I could hear was them laughing in the background. You know? So I went and dealt with them. You learn from the things that you do. Maybe you should try something different if what you tried the first time did not work. I mean, the game literally tells you it may be better to avoid an enemy that's too strong. Go somewhere else. Level, come back when you got better gear levels. You can even make the game so easy for yourself by looking up things on YouTube. If you're a caster, you can literally get an S-scaling staff within the first 10 minutes of the game. And there are options for other weapons and playstyles you can get super early. You don't even have to do that. Go explore yourself. Go do other things. Try search another area. Maybe you might find something nice you can use. A better weapon, armor piece. Maybe it's a golden sea for more fast to use. I got teleported to another area. And these enemies were way too strong for me to deal with. Do you know what I did? I was like, wow, I cannot deal with these enemies right now. I need to come back here later. This is probably a later game area that I probably should come back to when I'm stronger. You know what I did? I left the area. And I went to another area that I knew I could handle. Which is the area that I started at. I went back. Because I was getting my butt kicked and I was doing no damage to these enemies. Because they were supposed to be for when I was further in the game. Not for right at the start. I processed the information, I used my brain, and look what happened. I was able to level up, and when I went back to that area later, I was strong enough. I was dealing with the enemies there, I was kicking their ass. You know? because I now can, because I've leveled up more, I've got better gear now. I've got further into the game. I mean, there's people even complaining about the map. The map has indicators to locations. Even if you don't have the map piece, there'll be a small thing on your map which stands out. You look at the map where you don't have the area unlocked, there'll be a little symbol that's clearly drawn on it to show you where you can find that map piece. If you have a map piece and you look at the map, it shows things like cave locations. You can see the outline of buildings. You know there's something there because you can look at the map. It will show like the outline of some ruins possibly, and you're like, okay, there may be something here. There's something been drawn here. Maybe there may be an item there. Maybe that may be a location I can go to. There are a lot of things you can do if you just use your own eyes. You can even set waypoints and all sorts on the map so you can find your way to the place and make sure you're going in the right direction. Fundamentally changing the whole entire game just to suit you and ruin it for every other player is not the way forward at all. That will ruin the game. The saying get good came from Souls games because that's what you have to do. You improve, you learn, you get better at using the mechanics, see the enemy's attack patterns and learn it, and then it's easy to deal with them. I've had my butt kicked so many times from some bosses or enemies, and through trial and error, learning from my mistakes, I got better at dealing with them. Now I can kick their butt like it's nothing. You know why? Because I didn't give up. I kept trying. I learnt from my mistakes. If you want to play an open world game and be some amazing god that can slaughter everything and cut through it like butter, go play Skyrim or another open world game. There's an easy mode or difficulty slider. And this is not me hating on Skyrim. I love Skyrim. It's one of my most favourite games of all time. You have the option there. Skyrim was built with these things in mind, but Souls-like games such as Elden Ring are not games built with a difficulty slider in mind. They are designed to be challenging, to be fun, to be hard, have trials to overcome and obstacles to beat. That is what it's built around. If you didn't look up this game and check it out, you didn't research what this game might be, that's honestly on you. Don't punish everybody else who loves this game and enjoys this style of play by crying like a little baby that you're dying or it's too hard and trying to force it to be changed for you. You are not the target demographic of this game. That is not what the developers had in mind when they made this game. They had a vision for this game, and they built it that way. They built the Souls-like games this way for a reason. That is their vision. You're not the target demographic if you're going to sit there and cry about how hard it is. You're not who they're trying to please. They're trying to please the gamers who want a good challenge and a fun game where they can go through. Where if they make a mistake, they can pay for it. They must get better to win. Like, seriously. If... the Souls-like games have a history for this. They have a history for being difficult and challenging games. They are very well known for this concept and type of play. You should have looked up what you're getting yourself into before spending that $60 or pounds or whatever currency. You don't just spend money on a game you know nothing about and just throw it away. You want to make an investment that will pay off and give you fun and enjoyment. If you didn't do that and just throw your money on it, that's a stupid decision that lies solely your responsibility. Not the game developers, not the gamers who enjoy this game. That's on you. Not looking what FromSoft does. Not looking up what their games are about. Not looking up anything in Elden Ring. That's your decision that you made. You're now paying for it because it's not a game that you can do. And it's not because the game's too hard. It's because you give up and are unwilling to try. Because you felt the tiniest bit of resistance and you was like, oh, this is way too hard. This is not fair. This game's a terrible game. Like, jeez. You didn't even give it a try. You didn't try to overcome the obstacle and beat it. When I first started playing Souls games, I died over and over because I did not understand the concept. Once I learned that concept and I kept playing, I then started to get good at Souls-like games. Now, bear in mind, I haven't played one in years, so on Elden Ring, I was a bit rusty, sure. And I was making a lot of silly mistakes. That was my choice. Because I chose to stop playing those kind of games. And when I went back to him, I learnt the lesson that, you know, this is my fault. I should have kept on playing and practicing at these kind of games, and I stopped for a while, went back to easier games, started having more fun, just being a god that was just cutting through everything without any worries in the world. But I never felt satisfied while playing those games. I was having fun, but I didn't feel that satisfaction. I didn't feel that enjoyment that I just beat something that I was having trouble with. I didn't get that feeling. I mean, gaming is just like any hobby in the fact that repeatedly trying and practicing will make you better at it. Just like the saying, practice makes perfect. You get better at drawing by practicing. You get better at playing an instrument by practicing. You get better at sports by practicing. You get better at video games by playing them more and practicing. You get better at cleaning by practicing. You get better at dancing by practicing. You get better at speaking a language by practicing. Just like in Elden Ring, you get better by playing and practicing. That's what the game is designed around. Being a challenging experience that you overcome by, you guessed it, playing and practicing, learning from your mistakes, you learn from them, and you get better at it. And you overcome that boss that killed you 10 times. You feel amazing, like, yes, I did it! I finally beat this boss that was kicking my ass, yeah! You get that satisfaction. That's the adrenaline that you get from that is what makes these Souls-like games so enjoyable and so amazing and such a great experience. They should not be changed just because you're not willing to put in the time, because you're going to give up on the slightest little obstacle. They should not be changed for you. That is not an accessibility option, like people keep saying. It should be more accessible for people who aren't that good at gaming. That's not an accessibility option. That's a difficulty option you want. You want an easy mode for the game. That's a difficulty option, not an accessibility option. People seem to get that concept sorely mistaken. Over and over. There are people that have disabilities who cannot play these kind of games, whether they're deaf or blind or whatever. And accessibility options would be making ways for them to be able to enjoy the game. If you're missing a limb or something like that, a way for you to play the game would be an accessibility option. That's an accessibility option. You've hijacked something important that these people need who have disabilities or maybe missing limbs or have a hearing impediment or a visual issue. You've hijacked their movement because you want the game to be easier for you. You know how selfish and horrible that is to the people who actually need this? You're screaming over them saying, this game should be easier, we want an easy mode. When the real issue that these people are dealing with is the game being accessible to them being able to play. If they are colorblind, having an option for those people who are colorblind. If they are having visual issues, something that makes something stand out more for those people who have issues with their visuals. That's an accessibility option that these people need. And you've hijacked that because you're crying that the game is too hard for you. You're not willing to put in the time and effort and improve. You're hijacking another group's movement, using it for your own selfish means, trying to make an easy mode in the game and ruin the experience for everybody who loves it. That's how selfish you've become, and how horrible you've become by doing that. Because you're getting the lines blurred between what's an accessibility option and what's a difficulty option. I'm your host, Messenger of Death, and I think that's the end of the video. If you agree, leave a like and comment down below. If you disagree, let me know in the comments. Let's talk. If you have enjoyed today's episode, though, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you much, guys, for watching. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Peace.